Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
It's Thursday, May 25th. This is The Gateway. I'm Wayne Pratt. A global music icon who launched her career in St. Louis has died. Fans of Tina Turner gathered at her star on the St. Louis Walk of Fame yesterday to pay their respects.
She just really, truly represents what you can do with yourself as a St. Louis musician. And she's just been an inspiration to so many different people for so many different reasons.
Tina Turner was 83. Turner became known as the Queen of Rock and Roll. As St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis reports, her collaborators and fans say she influenced generations of musicians and left a lasting legacy.
Turner grew up in Tennessee but moved to St. Louis at 16. She attended Sumner High School and started performing at venues in East St. Louis. She formed the Ike and Tina Turner Revue with her husband Ike in the 1960s. They had big hits like Proud Mary and A Fool in Love. Robbie Montgomery was one of the Ikettes, the duo's backup singers. Montgomery met Tina Turner while recording the song.
And the guy that was supposed to sing the song didn't show up for the session, and she knew the lead part, so I let her go in and put the lead, and we put the background. The song hit, and we packed up and left St. Louis.
Ike was violent towards Tina, and she divorced him in the 70s and then reinvented herself in the 80s with the hits Private Dancer and What's Love Got to Do with It.
But whatever the reason, you do it for me. Oh.
Turner's won 12 Grammy Awards and was a two-time inductee in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
She was sexy then, and she pushed the envelope.
That's St. Louis singer Leica. She says Turner was a pioneer. Turner died Wednesday at her home in Switzerland. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
We have more about Turner on our website, stlpr.org. In other news, St. Charles City and County are suing Ameren over differences concerning contaminated water wells. The city says the lawsuit has been filed in St. Charles County Circuit Court, and it seeks financial damages to cover the cost of building new wells. The Environmental Protection Agency says Ameren is responsible for contaminating 6 of the city's 7 wells. They have been shut down. Ameren says it has taken the necessary steps to properly clean up the site. Budget talks in Illinois are delayed again, despite the governor and top legislative leaders announcing an agreement for a state spending plan. Cameron Cuntinello reports.
Senate President Don Harmon said during a joint press conference yesterday afternoon that he was hopeful the Senate would pass the budget before midnight. The Senate did not meet that goal. Harmon said last night that the reason the spending plan didn't get a vote was because ultimately there wasn't consensus among lawmakers in both chambers. He said the Senate would not take action until House members agreed to the more than 3,000-page budget. Harmon said the Senate will hear public testimony on the plan before calling it for an expected vote in the chamber today. The House will then vote on the measure, but a final vote won't come until Saturday. I'm Cameron Cusinello.
The Federal Aviation Administration has approved St. Louis Lambert International Airport's nearly $3 billion master plan. It includes a new terminal to consolidate all commercial airlines at Lambert and building a larger parking garage. Airport officials say that master plan extends through 2040, when Lambert is expected to have more than 20 million passengers a year. That would be a roughly 35% increase than the recent peak in 2019. The plan still needs an environmental review, and airlines would have to work out new agreements. Lambert officials hope to begin the architectural design phase next year. The St. Louis County Library is offering small business classes to formerly incarcerated people throughout the region. The 6-month program will cover financing, business plans, and marketing. St. Louis Public Radio's Andrea Henderson reports.
The Small Business Lunchpad will offer business workshops, entrepreneurship coaching, and pitch sessions to formerly incarcerated people who want to start a business. Participants in the program, which starts in August, will have access to the county library's databases and reference centers. Local entrepreneurs and small business organizations will provide professional development and advice on how to seek business loans and grants. Megan Pfeiffer Davis is a manager for the county library. She says the program could help generate ideas to help people start successful enterprises.
You get to make what you want and you get to live your passion and you get to work towards something that you are excited to do every day.
Participants do not need a business plan to apply for the program. I'm Andrea Henderson, St. Louis Public Radio.
There's some more work from Tina Turner as we remember the music icon who launched her career in St. Louis. That's Ike and Tina Turner performing Club Manhattan, which is based on a former venue in East St. Louis. Missouri lawmakers passed restrictions on transgender minors accessing treatments like puberty blockers and hormone therapy. And despite some Republican officials saying they have no interest in restricting gender-affirming care to adults, transgender Missourians and their allies are bracing for more barriers. St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum reports.
When Missouri Republicans finished work this month on legislation barring gender-affirming care to minors, they repeated their contention that they were prioritizing the restrictions to protect kids. And GOP lawmakers like State Representative Bill Hardwick, Senator Nick Schroer, and Senate President Pro Tem Caleb Rowden emphasized that they had no interest in pursuing barriers for hormone therapy or gender transition surgery for adults.
Maybe I don't think it's the right decision, but part of freedom is you make decisions I don't like.
And I think in that instance, your body, your choice, so to speak.
I don't think we should do anything relative to adults. That's my opinion.
But Ben Green is not ready to let his guard down. The St. Louis resident says he sees the intense legislative push against transgender people going beyond minors and eventually headed towards transgender adults like himself.
I think that their goal doesn't even have to do with healthcare. I think that might be the next step. I think their end goal, which they have openly stated, is the elimination of transgender people from Missouri and from public life.
Part of the reason why transgender Missourians are on edge is that proposed restrictions against gender-affirming care for adults is not hypothetical. Before pulling his emergency rules last week, Attorney General Andrew Bailey wanted people to get screened for autism, get at least 15 hours of mental health care, and, quote, treat and resolve mental health issues ahead of getting gender-affirming care. Even though a number of Republicans do not want to codify Bailey's rules into law, State Senator Bill Eigel isn't ruling it out in the future.
Personally, my belief is that all these surgeries are harmful no matter who you are. And I think there's going to be a time and a place for a discussion about whether or not we need to expand that beyond 18 years old. I don't think that day is today.
But it's not just Bailey's now scuttled emergency rules provoking fear that more restrictions for transgender adults could come in the future. Legislation approved this month barring gender-affirming care for minors includes language prohibiting the state from paying for treatments like hormone therapy for prisoners or Medicaid recipients like Springfield resident Asher Hackworth. Hackworth says that policymakers do not understand the value of gender-affirming care.
Just whatever as a trans person you feel dysphoric about, the goal is to make you feel euphoric. And not transitioning is literally the most dangerous thing for transgender people.
Some lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle have cited social media and conservative news outlets amplifying negativity against transgender people as a reason why the gender-affirming care ban for minors gained so much momentum this year. And Democrats like Senate Minority Leader John Rizzo don't see that dynamic ceasing to affect GOP legislative decision-making.
When you throw, red meat to rabid people, they don't stop being hungry. I mean, and that's what they did. I mean, they threw kids on the chopping block with that bill. And the next logical step is for people to take that hate and move it to the next step, which is obviously adults.
But not everyone thinks that it's inevitable that Missouri will adopt more stringent barriers for adults getting gender-affirming care. Some contend that restrictions can be successfully challenged in court, and transgender Missourians like Jamie Cayley say it's possible to change public opinion just by being more visible.
We are not the scary monsters that the media has made us out to be for decades.
Others, like State Representative Chris Sander of Lone Jack, one of two openly gay Republican legislators, say they can convince their colleagues that more bills restricting transgender rights are unnecessary.
Yeah, they're not going to quit, and that's why I'm not going to quit.
But what might be the most critical factor for the future of transgender-related legislation is who wins next year's governor's race and whether Democrats can gain ground in the Missouri General Assembly. I'm Jason Rosenbaum, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Fred Ehrlich edited that report. Ashley Lisenby is the news director of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis. Theme music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Wayne Pratt.
Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.